Oh, hi. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Get Your Paint On. It's Thursday. As you can probably tell, I can actually speak today, which is a wonderful development. I feel a lot better. I am joined here today with our wonderful Tony Konachek.
Good morning.
And Jeff Olson.
Hello.
Hi, Jeff.
It's wonderful to see you guys again. And I'm super looking forward to today because I got to paint some sweet models, as you can see here. So before we get into that, talk a little bit about announcements. Let's go to the stream schedule, which you guys probably already know about anyways, but we're going to go over it again. I've got Dev Hangout Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Get Your Paint On Thursdays at 10 a.m., which is why you're here. Thank you. We got Staff Showdown May 10th.
That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
Which is tomorrow. Yes, I can math. Cool.
I'm not sure it's a math thing. It's more like a calendar thing.
Yeah,
This
just
is more
making
calendar
just
thing.
making sure, because sometimes when people say dates, I'm like, okay, yeah, and then the date rolls around, and then it has no.
I don't
no
think it
place in
registered to
time
me
and
because
space.
it says 10th and like everything's at 10 a.m.
Everything's at 10.
So
10 at 10.
I usually kind of just like ignore the time slot.
Yeah.
Because it's all the same.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
but it's also-
it's Hungerford and Oz.
Hungerford and Oz.
Playing Monster Apocalypse.
Monster
yeah,
Apocalypse.
what is it? Monster Apocalypse?
And they're going to be using some new release monsters. So there's going to be a lot of stuff we haven't
gonna be sweet.
seen on stream before.
I'm excited to see that. And then as usual, we got Primecast Live May 24th.
It's 2 weeks away.
2 weeks away. Well, 1 week?
2 weeks.
Well,
2 weeks from tomorrow.
Says the person. So if tomorr's the
Dude,
10th,
I am very calendar challenged today.
if tomorrow's
very
the 10th
calendar
and
challenged.
it's the 24th, which is 14 days, take us to our next announcement, please.
Yeah. All right. Next announcement. We've got the Privateer Press Hobby and Terrain blog. As you guys can see, Danny is finally finished. Oh, wow. I can't even talk today. Finished to. Oh, my God.
Finish painting up.
Finally finished painting
and building.
and building
Yeah.
the Infernal's Tower.
Yeah, the table for the Iron Gauntlet, right?
It's
Yes,
it's
sir.
all done.
It's all done. And in its masterful glory.
yeah,
you
I
can
took
see
a look at it
there.
yesterday. It looks real good.
It is also very large. Very, very large.
That tower is
But yeah.
huge.
That's a little bit of a sneak peek at what some of the Infernal's colors are going to look like, so get excited about that. And then last thing, just to remind you guys, we've got lock and load tickets that are still on sale now, and event signups are open. So go ahead and get signed up for all of the events that you guys want to participate in.
Yeah, they
and,
opened up a new hotel block too, right?
Oh, did they?
I believe, yeah.
Yeah,
That's if I remember hearing that from the Dev Hangout, that
Yeah,
there's
they're-
more
Nope.
space now.
Fantastic. So if you guys want to stay on site, which I highly recommend, because as a person who has frequented a lot of conventions, staying in the hotel where the convention is at is a huge deal.
And with a 24-hour gaming hall, it
Yeah.
just works whatever your schedule is.
Yes, which is a pretty uncommon thing for most conventions.
I'm gonna kind of take an aside, but kind of reel it back. But last year for Gen Con, I stayed at a hotel that was like literally 2 blocks away, and it was a nightmare to walk to Gen Con.
Yeah.
So yes, I highly encourage people to just
To
stay in the
on
hotel.
site. Yeah, it's,
Well,
it's,
the convention center at Gen Con is like 8 miles long, so 2 blocks away doesn't sound like a lot, but
It's a
It
lot.
also
Just
was
walking
like
to the
1,004 degrees.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but regardless.
All right,
And
so next thing, sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
Oh no, I don't even know what I was doing.
Okay, cool. We'll just move on then. Mini Crate, we've got next. We've got, excuse me, Asphyxius the Damned.
the
Undamned.
undamned.
Yeah.
Excuse me,
This
it's
is
the
the,
undamned.
this is the
Undamned.
version of him before
Yeah, I'm
he went and
super
threw himself
excited
into a volcano.
for that. That model is going to be really dope. The VIP subscription Bride of Arcadius. You guys have seen that last week when we painted it on, or some of you guys probably did. We painted it on stream. We also have the new L5R Mini Crate, Moto Chagatai. Chagatai, yeah.
Yep.
Of the Unicorn Clan, which is available until June 5th. And then Shoshuro
Sadako.
There we go.
See,
This
I'm
guy does
impressed with how
more-
you said that, because when I was writing these out and then to have them on for the stream this week because they were new this week, I had a hard time pronouncing it. Like my tongue would just get twisted up. These are some of the hardest ones. to pronounce.
Shoshiro is actually the clan.
Shoshiro.
Shoshiro is actually the
Shoshiro?
clan for my character from my L5R game that I'm playing in. And so that's the model I've been waiting for. I've been teasing at it for like the last 6 months whenever I talk about L5R and we bring
Oh
up the
yeah,
mini crate.
you're saying that's basically my character.
That one's pretty darn close to my character, so I'm very hyped for that one. And then I think kind of a little interesting cross point here is, so I'm just gonna spend 10 seconds doing this real fast, but in the L5R universe, the Unicorn Clan left the country 1,000 years ago. And then they came back, which is why Moto Chagatai's name is kind of Mongolian inspired, because even though it's a kind of a Japanese influenced universe, they kind of left, became sort of vaguely Mongolian, and came back, which is why they're aesthetically and named kind of different than the traditional clans. So it's a very brief history lesson for people. But if anyone was curious why, that's not a classic Japanese sounding name for that character. That's why.
Add some depth to the use of your L5R minis.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, now that we've got all of the relevant announcements out of the way, we get to take a look at the Desolator.
Woohoo.
This is, I
Look
think
at
this is
that
the first
thing.
actual Infernals model that we've shown, right?
This is
In terms of live you painting it, yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
we've
we've
shown
had
some
some
other ones.
video stuff on Infernal Fridays. There's been some previews and things. And
But like actual physical models.
Yeah.
This is the only one that we've seen.
Probably.
And on that note, I would like to drop that this Friday we are also dropping another Infernals Friday video that has a lot of
you
model
tease?
previews in it.
Tease.
Yeah,
Who's
some-
in it?
there's
I have
some
no
sweet
idea. I
stuff.
literally don't know.
I'm trying to think of who's in there. There's
a lot of people?
I think there's just it's got a lot of previews. Amadamos is one of the guys in there.
Oh,
but
that's how I like
really, there's just a lot. You just get to see a lot of actual.
This is how I like to
models
say it.
in it.
Omodemos.
Amadamos.
Awesome.
Omodemos.
So, I did hear I did see a question earlier on the chat asking if we're going to paint this in the studio scheme, Quasitor. I was not planning on it. I can definitely do a little bit of we could probably do a tutorial stream on it if you guys want to learn a little bit more about the studio scheme once we start showing it. But I was planning on doing something a little bit different.
Well, when you do opposite studio scheme, you
It
do
kind
black.
of is actually, because I am planning on painting
okay.
it black. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so good.
So the studio scheme for the beasts are white skin, red glow, and the skin's got a lot of undertones of purple and
I was about to say. I was about to ask
blue
purple,
and a little bit of teal and stuff and some green.
and then they have red googly bits.
Yeah, so there's some glow in here that's all red. These little holes here are all red. There's these glowing sacks on its back and on the guns, the spray guns that are red. And then the rest of it's all white. We got a little bit of glow that goes on down in here. But I was planning on painting it black and maybe yellow for the glow.
Sure, that sounds dope.
I'm gonna start with the black, and then we're gonna kind of move from there. So, talk a little bit about how to paint black today, which is kind of exciting.
Good. Black is suspiciously harder than most people think it is.
Yeah, I agree. Black is definitely one of the things that is a little daunting to paint. Even for me, it's hard to make it look good. But right now we're working with a little bit of coal black and Thamar black.
Tony, you gotta go whip it.
Oh shoot! Sorry, I'm I'm trying to get ramped up.
Tony, come on.
Coal black, Thamar black.
Coal black, Thamar black.
Give me
Riker's
one.
Iron asked in chat about whether or not these models will be available at Lock and Load, and the answer, as always, is we don't actually know.
Yes,
There will
don't-
definitely be some Infernals models at Lock and Load for sale, but none of the people in this room know what production is putting together for that. I'm going to hope so. Oh. Nice Foley work.
It's way
So-
easier than pressing buttons on my phone, to be honest.
But yeah, I'm hoping we're going to have some of this. We're definitely going to have some Infernal stuff. I just don't know what yet.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the
I don't
content's
want to
gonna
make
be.
any promises on exactly which ones will be there.
Yeah.
And for I think today's stream, I'm going to focus a little bit on just this kind of face and upper torso area here. just so I can kind of get a little bit further along in the process. Because like I mentioned, black's kind of a pain to paint, and it takes a little bit longer. So in an effort to actually get some more progress for you guys, considering I haven't really like started this very much, we're gonna work with a little bit more of a limited space here. But also this is gonna be easier for you guys to see. So I'm just putting on the paint pretty wet and fast here.
Yeah, it's
Doesn't
looking
need
like
to be
it's
super
going.
fancy.
Now, if you want to get it on a textured model like this that just has a lot of, you can see on the top all those little crevices, like adding a little extra water, thinning it down, is that helpful? Or
Yeah, it's super helpful. It also helps the paint kind of flow better on the model generally if it's a little bit more wet. So
I saw a question in chat from Primal Poodle, excuse me, who is just asking for a tutorial. So I'm probably going to just like ruin one of Tony's ideas here, I bet.
I can't wait.
Which is, please do a tutorial for the studio scheme. Color light on a white background is so. So I was going to say, you should do an Infernal Friday where like Jordan shows off like the studio scheme and like shows how to paint or something. But like I said, I probably just totally spoiled an idea that you had that I didn't know about.
I say nothing.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
yeah, like I said, it's definitely something that we can address in the one of the Get Your Paint Ons, because at least for the next month or so, I'm definitely planning on painting Infernals, basically up until Lock and Load is kind of what we're talking about. So definitely expect to see a bunch of new stuff over the next month, you guys. So don't feel like this is your only opportunity to figure out how that studio
might be doing
is
some
done.
sweet Infernals very regularly on and get your paint on.
Yeah, well, that's definitely the plan for the next several weeks.
Keep.
If you want to see more Infernals models, keep tuning in. Do people tune in anymore? Does anybody tune in?
I mean, that's a phrase I certainly use, but I'm also
Yeah.
pretty old at this point. So I don't know.
I mean, I'm fairly young.
Do you tune in?
I tune in.
That's a phrase that's
phrase
common
that
for
I
your
use.
generation. Okay, cool.
Another one.
I don't know if it's a phrase that's common for my generation. It's a phrase that I use, but I'm also weird, so
Well, also, all your friends are old.
that too.
I find myself still saying videotape and taping.
Oh,
when
yeah,
it comes
of
to
course.
doing video stuff, and it doesn't sound weird till I think about it.
Well, who remembers being on an airplane in like the 90s and the stewardess, they'd ask you to turn off your Game Boy,
Yeah,
even though there was other, portable, computerized, gaming-related things. That Game Boy was just a blanket term.
Yep.
Because that was for a long time the only thing out there. Yeah, very
Exactly.
much like that. Cody the Bear 5 has a question in Twitch chat. What's the main difference between the two black, and what do you use them for? So the coal black and your Thamar black.
So coal black is not actually black. It's kind of like
it's
really
not
dark,
lying, the picture.
Yeah, that is like actually pretty similar to what coal black looks like. It's just like a really dark teal, is basically what it looks like. So the reason that I chose coal black to use with the regular black is that the finished product that I want to have for this black is going to have a bunch of like purple tones and blue tones, like cool tones to it. So I'm starting with a base that has a little bit of a cool color to it.
Do you mind hitting a swatch of Thamar black and coal black on your hand or a piece of paper
Yeah,
just to show?
give us the thumb.
Because I know the swatches are a nice reference, but that coal black doesn't really represent in real life what that color looks like.
Correct. It's a bit darker than that. The tone's pretty correct.
Yeah, give us
It's
give
definitely
us the
not
thumb,
black.
Jordan.
So let's see here.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's coal black on the right, and that's Thamar black on the left. So as you can see, like these are very much not like, this is not a black color. It's called coal black, but it's not black.
The Dragon Pup coal black is a great color. I agree.
It is one of my favorite colors. It's a very good color.
I've noticed on the show that we tend to use it a lot. It feels like so. It must be a workhorse paint.
It's a pretty utilitarian color.
Generally speaking, I try not to use just straight Thamar black, and coal black is a really good mix to kind of change slightly the color of your Thamar black so that it's not like completely black. And it's in a lot of like foundations for different recipes and such, so it's not surprising that you would see it a lot. Plus, most of us really like the color, so we tend to use it a lot more than normal.
Man, this thing looks so Geiger-esque.
Yeah, it does. Well, someone mentioned. Let me see if I can find the comment that painting it up like Alien. And
Yeah,
it's
like the black.
certainly that would be an awesome inspiration for this. Oh yeah, Becky Red is also saying mashup of Alien, Doom, Dead Space. Mm-hmm. Love it. Me too, Becky.
Get a better grip on that. Let's see here. This is still drying. It'll take a little bit longer than I think I would have liked. It's when you put a little too much water in there.
So one little tip for those of you who don't know, we don't use one on camera very much because it's really annoying and irritating. But one way you can speed up your paint progress while you're waiting is just keep a little cheap hairdryer close by. And
I have one underneath my desk,
yep.
and I use it basically every day.
I have one at my painting station too. It's one of the better painting investments you can make. So, $15-20 or less if you can find.
I'm sure you can.
They don't have to be great.
Go to the store, go on Amazon.
Yep.
The one I always wander downstairs and see Jordan use, like literally this tiny little hand. It looks like a little like pistol kind of thing. It's like just kind of sits there and.
Yeah, you'll cut your painting time down by quite a bit if you are drying with the hairdryer in between stages.
Which is exactly what I would be doing here, is using a hairdryer to dry this. Because
Anthony Martinez in Facebook says, someone needs to have a diorama of Locke punching one of those.
Nice.
I agree.
Yes.
That would be very good.
Absolutely.
So I'm just using some Manoth White highlight here to get in this crevice, which is where the glow's going to be.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tony.
And that Manoth White highlight, is that intended to be the base layer for your glow?
Yeah.
Because my favorite thing in the universe is always tying back things Jordan is doing on Get Your Paint On to our extensive catalog of painting videos on our YouTube channel. I am basically 104% positive that didn't Brendan do a video about doing like Crick's Glow that kind of is super duper similar to what you're doing right now?
I'm going to post it now.
Yep. This is my favorite thing is basically I like doing this so that I can watch Tony go and navigate and get links and then post them.
Into our big list of videos. The hard part is kind of remembering chronologically when they were, but
this is totally a search feature.
One. That's no fun. I like challenging my memory.
That's the one to make sure. Double check.
I made it. Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
It's the right.
It's the right one.
Trust me.
Oh, this is the one.
So I'm just going to
painting Glowa.
add a little bit more color to make this less watery on my palette, because this color's really watery right now. It's kind of hard to work with. It's better.
Oh yeah, the white, it does kind of have like a Venom vibe now.
That is a little bit of the inspiration for this, for sure.
Yeah, we were maybe looking up some pop culture,
some
culture.
Illustrated funny book references.
Jeff, our very own, not Jeff Olson, Jeff Handley. Do you thin the Manoth White highlight before it goes on? Because I never get coverage like that on white over black.
The trick is to not goodness gracious, don't thin it down too much. You want it to have good flow, but you don't want to like thin it out a ton. So like for instance, you guys can see my thumb, like that's kind of the consistency that you want. It's like pretty translucent, but it's still got some good coverage.
Hold up your thumb a little.
There we go.
Get that thumb in there.
Cover my nail.
I never thought about this before. We have the miniature, clearly star of the show, and then Jordan's thumb, the entertaining co-host.
Yeah, it's a sidekick. Oh man, dude, we should start painting like a little smiley face on your thumbnail.
Now you've done and got it.
Yep.
We have a question from Jeff198500817 in Twitch. And Jeff, I'm going to take a shot at your question, so please correct me if I get it wrong. It says, I got a plastic wet paint, and I'm guessing you mean a wet palette, and want to clean it. Anyone have an idea what to do because the corners are dry with paint? So if I understand you, that you're having to clean your wet palette and it's dry with paint, if you've been using acrylic paint, then the only way I know of is to do two things. The first is just scrape it off. The nice thing about that plasticky acrylic paint is if you can get like a scraping knife or something in there, once you start getting it off, it'll often pop off in one big piece. I have had some success soaking it in water for a day or two and just letting that water kind of get underneath the layers, and they won't reabsorb or anything, but it might loosen it from the surface. Do you guys have any other
I just take a little
ways
bit.
to clean
In
it
my
out?
experience, it's always just a little bit of elbow grease.
Elbow grease?
Yeah, like a sponge and some water, and you just kind of go at it.
Yeah, you can buy elbow
mostly
grease
abrasive
anywhere.
surface will generally do it pretty well. Because acrylic paints are also like water soluble, so they definitely don't require too much finagling to get. So this is a new color. You might be able to see this this purple in here.
Oh yeah.
So
wow.
So what do you got going on with that color?
Yeah.
I mixed a little bit of beaten purple into the previous mixture. This is just to add a little bit of color into this black. And you'll still notice like this is still pretty dark. So I'm kind of just developing the undertones.
And this is just, I mean, adding this purple in, this is just one possible recipe you could do with this black base, right?
Yeah, totally.
Gives it really like I'm gonna keep kind of falling back on this trope, and so I apologize for that. But it gives it that kind of shiny, wet, like a xenomorph from Aliens. It gives it that kind of, if this is a real living organism and this is its real gnarly alien moist skin,
Right,
sweaty truck stop,
Sweaty.
Which is
moistened.
I don't know what that
definitely-
means, but it made me laugh.
Yeah.
It's definitely the thing that I'm going for is that kind of skin tone effect. So you guys will be able to watch me try and replicate that a bit. And kind of what I'm going to be doing to achieve that is mixing in a lot of these base coats that I've built in previously to keep the same sort of color tone, but start brightening up specific areas where light would catch. And then we're going to do some really harsh, like light reflection lines, which will really
Pop.
and create
I
that
always use
that
the
like
word
kind
pop
of
for painting.
wet look, you know,
Glistening.
that glistening
there we go.
look.
Nice word. So we also have, in regards to cleaning a wet palette or sticky paint, we've had a couple of suggestions. Anthony Martinez suggests soaking it in simple green. It comes off in about a day or so. That jives with like what I've done. I don't know that I've used simple green exactly, but yeah, it could work. Soak it in super clean degreaser from Justin Witchman. I don't know what that is or how well it works. Use at your own risk.
Yeah.
But if it
all of
doesn't-
these
if
things
it-
are,
yeah,
are
but if-
almost certainly
yeah.
vaguely talked. So
Do at your own risk, but if they work out, yeah, that's there's a couple ways to get that paint off.
my friend had this very interesting little box. Basically, it was a dental device that it vibrates at a very high frequency.
Like an ultrasonic
Basically.
cleaner.
Yeah, and it's like this little box, and I think it was supposed to be like you put denture. Who knows?
Yeah.
Something dental related. And yeah, that with some simple green, you stick a model in there or whatever if you're trying to get paint off a model.
Right.
And you let it sit going, and it sits there for a few hours, and it comes back and all kind of shed it. It was interesting.
Oh, wow. Okay. I have to admit that's one thing. It's one of the perks working at a miniatures company is I seldom ever have to take paint or try to take paint off a model.
Yeah.
You just paint it up.
Well, I'm kind of the camp where it's like it's paint, and so you can paint over it.
Yep.
If you've been thinning your paints appropriately, you can. If you're unhappy with how your model turned out, you can get away with a couple more layers of paint on there. It's not until I've ruined a model 4 or 5 times that I'm too worried about trying to get rid of the paint kind of thing.
Yeah, there's some latitude, and I think you're right. If you've thinned the paint enough, if you're not trying to do a competition level miniature or anything like that, you're just not gonna lose enough detail.
When I was working in
make
sales,
it worthwhile to take all that.
It was a common question I had when I was working like at Mox and in sales and stuff, and I'm selling miniatures and painting products to customers. Is they would say, well, what happens if you mess up? And I'm like, and I would literally say, well, it's paint. You can just paint over it. It's fine.
It's part. Messing up is part of the process.
Exactly.
Like what happens when you mess up is like I plan on messing up a lot. Let's see.
All right, so you guys can also see a little bit now that I've started to like put in these high reflection marks. It's kind of hard to see because of the glare,
Oh, I can see.
It makes it
I can
more
see 'em
reflective.
on here,
but
Well, point them out a little bit too, just for people
yeah.
who
So
might
like
not be entirely sure what you're
up
talking.
here on the arm, you can kind of see this.
Yeah, like the fine line
Yeah.
on the musculature, as it were.
Yep, and you know the interesting thing is I'm actually kind of using the reflection from the lights as kind of a guideline of where to put
Of where light would reflect,
right
basically.
where to put these highlights.
And
So-
you'll see painters doing that kind of stuff all the time, where they have some form of source lighting, or if they're painting like having shadows, assuming the sun is in this specific position. Another common non-metal metallics make assumptions about chrome and all those kind of things.
Right.
And it's very common for people to actually set up some form of light source to see where the natural places to shade your paint would be, based on if I put a light over here, the model's over there on the left, kind of thing.
Well, I think we talked about this either last week or a couple weeks ago or something. But in the past, I've definitely taken my desk lamp, put it close to the Mini, and then taken a photo of the miniature under that lighting condition. It's especially helpful if you're doing anything like has a weird underlight or like super side light, but even top light.
Super side light.
It'd just be a
They're
nice,
like super side eyes.
yeah, just be
Super side light.
it's very dramatic. I mean, most minis are painted with that natural light coming from the top. Or things,
the
but,
generic noon sun, as
But
it
yeah,
were.
but if you were to change your light position, your virtual light position, have the light come from underneath your model, you could get some really weird, creepy effects. Or if it was as if the sun were setting and coming down from more along the horizon line on a 90-degree angle to that miniature, you'd get a different effect as well if you were following the lighting form. So that's something you can play around with.
You can see I've gone back in and I've added some real strong highlights to that arm right there.
Okay,
Just
so
to
I
kind
was
of
actually about
sell
to
that a little
ask
bit more.
if those were the highlights or if that was you filling in the glow area, basically.
And what are you using for that highlight?
So
Oh yeah, give us a
this
paint color.
first stage with the purple is taking the previous mix that was Daymar Black, Coal Black, and Beaten Purple. I added a little bit of underbelly blue to it
Gotcha.
to create kind of like a lavender color. And then this is just straight frostbite that I'm using right now.
Better late than never.
Did you workshop, like, were you like at home and asking like in front of a mirror workshopping those? You have your wife come and like tell you which one she likes best or anything, or how'd you come up with
It's
that?
whichever one makes my kids giggle.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Cody has another question in Twitch chat, and basically they wanted to know that if they wanted to modify the studio scheme for trolls to be a little bit more gray or frosty, what kind of what paint would you add to the base, like skin tone, for example, to make it a little grayer or frostier, snowier?
I would add more. I would add more Trollblood base and use Frostbite for the highlights, like Underbelly Blue and Frostbite for the highlights.
Okay.
Is definitely
So kind of almost kind of like some of the paints you're actually using right now.
yeah,
An
yeah.
entirely unintended linking these things together, but it worked out.
And then Rogelio on Facebook, and I apologize if I said your name incorrectly, says, maybe it's a dumb question. No dumb questions. But what does the purple do with the black? Highlight? So he might have missed when we were talking about it a little earlier.
Yeah, do you want to kind of reel it back and show us sort of where the purple is and stuff?
Yeah, so the purple is kind of to just add a little bit of color tone to the model. Like it's not something that's super easy to see just because of
Actually,
A, the glare, and B, the...
have you added purple to the port side of the model yet?
No, I haven't done anything.
So there you go.
else.
You can kind of see there's just sort of like the straight black, basically.
Yeah. And like this is an example of like what purple I'm putting on there. I don't know if you guys can see that.
I
we
can
can
see it
see
a
it,
little bit, yeah.
So, Rogel, you could paint just gray highlights over the black. You could just add white or mouth white highlight or another lighter color into that black mix and start highlighting. And that would give you form, but adding the purple or another color, as Jordan said, just helps add some character and
some
color.
body. Add some
body. Exactly.
It just gives you a little bit more like realism. Like everything in nature has color. Like even if it's gray, even if it's white, even if it's black, like there's more than just white and black going on there. So utilizing an additional color to mix into these whites and blacks really help kind of define what kind of it helps like root what you're painting in a little bit more recognizable space.
And just sort of for the audience at large, Michael asked what model this is, and this is an Infernal Desolator. This is one of the heavy horrors for the Infernals. This is the ranged one. It's got big gribbly spray arms that spoop goop at you. And this is one of the sort of the heavy chassis, as it were. It's paired with the Tormentor, which instead of having like the big claw arms on their shoulders and the big goopy arms, it has like big
kind of
crab fists, big crab claw fists, and it goes and punches you. So this is sort of like basically the ranged version, as it were.
Yeah, that I posted a link. I guess I should do it in Twitch, but there's a video with Doug Hamilton for Infernal Friday where he's actually showing off the sculpting of both of these beasts. So if you want to see what that looks like, I will repost that link.
I'm just kind of mixing different shades along the kind of recipe of colors that we've used. This is a thing that I do pretty frequently, is I have kind of a big color swatch that goes on my palette of all of the kind of mixes that I'm using, and I'll kind of use some midway tones in between them to use for like mid-tone colors or like small highlights in places that don't necessarily get a ton of light. But it's nice to be able to kind of go back and pull a color from a spot that you need it from. Let me add some more frostbite here.
So you're going to do another layer of highlights?
Yeah, I think I want to go a little bit brighter here on the highlights. And then I'll do pure white for some really, really, really reflective highlights. Once
Just
I
like
kind of get this a little bit more.
Little specular hits.
Yeah, I mean,
nice
these
drop
highlights
of
are...
specular.
I love you. I feel so smart when I say specular.
Right, like these are all specular highlights.
It's a deep
right?
cut.
But just reinforcing that specular highlight so that you can see it better is definitely something that I want to be doing.
So this guy has no eyes. He's just kind of got like a face plate thing. Can we just put googly eyes on him? we should just paint just
Your
big
Infernal's
eyes.
your way, Jeff.
Yeah, just paint huge, ridiculous eyes on him.
Oh, I thought you were going to actually like
Or you could just pour glue.
model some right on there.
Yeah, just
Boom.
glue him right on there. Boop.
Or put googly eyes right in the
In the
right in the hole where the claw is.
That would be really funny.
Do I have yellow? I do have yellow.
Forged of Souls. Any reason you're only painting part of this mini? Yeah, we're just kind of showing off some technique, basically.
I really wanted to showcase the whole process. And if I were to paint this on the whole model, it would be take way more than an hour.
Yeah.
Like, this is a pretty large model.
It'd also be just like 10
This
minutes
is a
of
paint
you.
pot for like scale reference, right? Like, this thing it's bulky, it's big. Like, it takes a lot of time to paint this whole thing.
It'd also be like 10 minutes of you base coating it in black.
Yes, which I prefer not to do an entire session of me just base coating this model. Because I don't think you
But it
guys
doesn't
would
mean
be
we won't
super
finish it
interested.
one day.
It's true.
I do. I have a question though, because I don't know if you're going to get to it or if we'll have time.
Questions are done.
How do you intend to approach the claws, like the big long scythe blades on its
Oh, like
top
the big,
arms?
like bony.
or any of the bony protrusions? I guess if they'd all be similar.
I'm still working that out.
It could just be red like the glow, but maybe like a slightly
Well,
different.
I'm doing yellow for the glow.
Oh man, why do I think red? Oh, you know what? I'm thinking the actual studio.
Yeah, the studio one's got
I'm going to take down
red
these
glow.
colors.
Yeah, and I was also about to ask what you're doing with this yellow in the thing.
Yeah, tell us what's happening.
Yeah.
So-
Sing us a song of your people.
I wanted to kind of get a sense of what the colors that I'm putting together. Oh, this is just yellow ink. Sorry. I kind of wanted to get a feel for what that yellow glow would look like once I put it in against the purple and these highlights. So I decided to throw in a little bit of that yellow ink, and I kind of like it. I don't dislike it. Put a little bit here on the top that I already started messing around with.
So just to go back a little bit, to start your glow, you started with a base of Menoth White highlight where you wanted your glow.
Yes.
And now you're going over that Menoth White
Straight
highlight
yellow ink.
with yellow ink.
Yep.
Succulent.
But I kind of like that. I think that looks pretty nice. Do I have Morrow White around here somewhere? If I don't,
We should just we should just
sad.
mail this model to Travis Marg. He wants it.
I don't know. Actually, Doug Hamilton said he wants to know when employees are
when
getting
staff.
it as well. Yeah.
Doug, you're never getting one.
Ooh.
I'm intercepting everything that you would ever get sent. From
Ouch.
Infernals.
Cold.
So get
Cold-blooded.
wrecked. Is he actually here?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the chat.
No, he's
Oh.
not there.
He's not there.
He's just not there.
All right. So I guess I'm just going to use Menoth White highlight for this because I don't have Morrow White. So normally I would use Morrow White for these like ting highlights. But because I do not have
Time
it,
to improvise.
I do
Yeah, I don't have
appreciate
it
you
with me.
pointing out to our viewers how ill prepared
Wait,
I was
what kind of
for
paint
this
do you
show
need?
I
by
mean,
not providing any
for me,
Mora White.
I mean, I'm the one who needs to make sure that I have all the colors that I need.
Is it not on the rack thingy over there?
Yeah, but I don't want to like get up and grab
I
the
can go.
rack.
What do you need? I can go grab it.
I also don't see Morrow White.
Never
mind.
mind.
I do see Morrow White. Whatever. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's at least 7 feet away. That's way too far for me to go.
I mean, Jeff, if you feel like going,
If
to
you want
grab
Morrow
it-
White, I can get you Morrow White.
You know what, Jeff? I want Morrow White.
Okay,
Go
fine,
get me
choose.
Morrow White.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Olson on the stream right there.
There he is.
Oh, hi.
Yeah. Hey. Oh, wrong way. Oh, that. Oh.
What are you doing?
I'm trying. I'm
Morrow White for you.
trying to show the stream Jeff. The beautiful Jeff Olson face.
Oh, there, I found it. Hey. There you go.
Perfect.
Whatever.
We have the
We're trying.
wonderful and lovely Carl Morgan in the chat. Hi, Carl. How are you? And he wants to know, he's a little late to the party. Is this going to be the studio scheme for
This
Infernals?
is definitely not going to be the studio scheme because I'd probably be real sad.
Yeah.
Because this would take forever.
It's kind of like the opposite of the studio scheme.
It is kind of the opposite. Minus the yellow glow.
It's kind of like it's like they've shown the color concept, right, for Infernals.
Yeah.
Yes, they've seen color concepts.
Yeah, so it's like white skin with like red glow stuff.
It did. It just
I'm-
kind of
No,
died
no,
off.
you're
I think
fine.
everyone
These are
was, everyone was
really,
distracted
really,
by
really
having you on
thin,
camera.
Yeah.
thin lines that take a little bit of precision. So I'm focusing really hard on that.
Don't let us distract you.
No, it's fine.
This is the stuff that terrifies me the most in painting. This is what I don't have the developed skills for, which is this fine line stuff that when Jordan's painting all these really, really particular these tight lines and all this kind of stuff. That's what terrifies me the most when it comes to painting. Do you have a video about that?
I have a perfect video for you.
Is it the brush control video?
It is the brush control.
Oh,
video.
hey, look at that. It's like he's prepared or something. Look at you, Tony.
See, oh, there it is.
Chat, can we get a round of applause for Tony for being super prepared? Except for the
I usually pride myself on the knowledge of our paint videos, and I had no idea.
I mean, you're trying to compete against somebody who literally edits every single one.
I was gonna say, to be fair, like these videos are my baby. I've spent more time with them than anybody else. So knowing what exists and what doesn't is kind of a byproduct of a large portion of my day while we were making them.
Yeah, I've always personally used the technique where you put like your two hands wrist together, where you hold it in one hand and you have your wrist together to give you like a base.
I'm definitely
a
like
video on
bracing
that
my
too.
pinky against
really?
part of this model to do this.
Wait, how is that not the brush control video?
No, brush control is a whole different thing.
Then
Yeah, there's because that's ergonomics. That's
Okay.
like putting your elbows up on your table for stability, locking your wrists together, and then painting like that, keeping your back straight so you don't mess up your back.
Oh, do we have any P3 painters? Cool stuff to show off today.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we
do.
almost forgot. Holy
I
cow!
like to point out that
Rikers Iron.
I had not forgotten. But
Thank you.
Rikers Iron jumped the gun on when I was going to be dropping those bombs, and then I also would have felt really bad if we didn't have one. But
No, Tony and I go over them every Thursday morning. Never
Jordan.
fear.
Jordan comes and sits on the floor in my office.
It's actually very true.
Stretches his legs out.
excuse me, I did not expect that.
That is not hyperbole. That is exactly how it goes down.
In fact, Mike Ryan came into the office this morning. He's like, "What the hell are you doing on the floor?" And I'm like, "I don't want to move the chair that's over there."
You know what? I totally lost track of what we were doing. What's
P3
happening?
painters.
P3 painters. Thank you. Okay, here we go. P3 painters. We have a few this week. So the first that we have is. Are you ready for this, Jordan?
Oh yeah.
From
Hey.
Ace of Paint.
You gotta stop posting all this cool stuff, man.
Nice,
Whoops.
Nice catch.
nice catch.
Excuse me, everybody. You gotta stop posting all this cool stuff because it makes me want to like.
This is a dope
Future.
scheme.
This is great.
Yeah.
And I just I do,
A, this looks dope. It's a good scheme. And B, heck yeah for you. That's what it starts.
I think you could say hell. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, goodness
so I
gracious.
really like.
We're looking up on the big board on the wall here
Yeah.
that has all the lists of words that are yeses and nos.
I really, really like the green with the yellow and the hazard striping. Like this is really just sharp, super sharp looking.
I just a nice industrial feel on that tank too. And super
Man, that
clean.
looks really good. And the weather, I'm not crazy, right? There's some weathering. Is that?
Yeah, right around
Yeah.
the rivets and everything. There's a little bit of weathering going on there. You know what? There's actually a couple
And
of
some
pictures.
someday I might actually
Boom,
do
look at
like
that.
Oh yeah, that's on the.
I think Tony and I were talking about maybe doing like a hazard striping video for someday
For something.
just as a tutorial to kind of like talk about how to do it because there's some like really easy and effective ways to do hazard striping that looks really clean.
Look at that. If you
By the way, you want to make a model look sharp, you add hazard striping.
yeah,
That's true.
because
Yeah.
imagine being on a table playing against that tank and
Yeah.
seeing that coming your way. Like those are big and bold and very attention getting. And yeah, I can see there's even like rust drips down
Heck
there on the front.
Way to
bulldozer.
go. Way to go.
Very nice.
The
Excellent work.
The
Ace
full
of
distance.
Painting.
I do want to point out,
Oh, sorry,
Sweet,
Ace of Paint might be.
if you don't know what's going on here,
Oh, yeah.
people, painters,
Oh,
post
yes.
their photos to Instagram with hashtag P3Painters, and then we always look at those images every week, and we try and choose a few that we think are super cool and show them off so you guys can see what everyone's doing. And
it
maybe
can also be like
get some new ideas.
if you have cool conversions of our models too. So if you've made like a really cool, like if you've taken one of our Monpok buildings and make it look all smashed, like a monster smashed it up, or something like that. Cool conversions, cool paint
I wanna
jobs,
see
cool
all of that stuff.
basing,
Like,
cool dioramas.
Not last week, I think it was the week before. We featured, I forget the name of the person who did it, but there was some really sweet and very well done, like custom redos for like the old Mauler and the
Right, yeah.
where
The
like
Mauler
the
and the
arms were
bronze back.
repositioned and resculpted all the like skin with all the texture and stuff. It looked really good.
All right, what else we got?
Okay. so
Sorry,
this,
was
sorry
it.
for forgetting whose name that was.
this one is Adorable. Oh, it's a little mouse phantasm.
This,
Oh, that's great.
This I know Jeff will appreciate
Yep.
because he is a big Grimkin guy,
Yep.
and he has his own painted Dreamer as well, which I still need to fix for him.
Yes.
Yeah, this is really nice. I like the use of the lines on the belly. To
Yeah.
create
I was
that
about to
kind of,
say
like,
this is
teddy
a
bear-like-
this is a style that I always think
Yeah.
looks really sharp when it's executed well.
Yeah, I love that, like that brushwork texture where you can see the highlights are very clear. It's not super blended and just gives it a lot of texture.
The nice thing is, I bet you this took very little time to paint.
Probably not. Yeah.
Or maybe it did. And props to you for making it look really sharp. But like this sort of stuff is the type of thing that you can do really fast once you like really like figure out the technique because it doesn't require blending. It's just harsh lines, but it looks really good, especially I mean even this close, right? Like this is a really up close picture.
Right.
And it looks really good.
Honestly, the only regret I have about this picture is I wish they had a different angle because I could see what was on the base.
Right.
That like
Oh yeah, 'cause
mushroom
there's that
thing or
something
something.
on the
Yeah.
on the base.
I
that
wish I
looks-
could
Well, I was
see
gonna say I think this tall grass
Yeah,
right
it's
here
so
actually
cool.
adds a little bit of cuteness, like
Oh,
they're
yeah, for
stomping
sure.
through a field rather than it just
Totally.
being a mouse. But also,
Yeah.
I also
The
want
eyes.
to point out
The
the
eyes
eyes
are really,
very
really sharp.
impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say
because
the
they
same thing.
pop, and this is a mini that I think you could easily kind of overlook those eyes a bit.
It's a very grumpy looking
Yeah.
mouse.
Thick legs.
Winter
Thank you
guard.
very much for this.
Yeah, this is awesome. If you have more of this stuff painted up, I want to see it. Please post it on P3 Painters.
Yeah, hashtag with your printers. What else we got?
Hashtag
Anything
Okay,
else?
we got our last one. Riker's Iron.
Oh,
So funny that he mentioned P3 Painters.
Yeah.
hey, we're the P3 painters.
hey,
Yeah,
wait,
this is
wait,
very,
P3
this is
painters.
very clearly.
He just
yeah,
knew
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
He just knew it.
Now, I would like to point out he did say in his notes that as we're looking at these, because I want to talk about the bases or at least point them out, he has not painted the bases because he's waiting to finish all of his models with this basing
and just
style and
do
paint
the
them at
pacing.
once. Yeah,
Yeah. That's
So
a good idea.
These are not painted bases.
It's actually like I'm glad that he mentions this because it's something that's really important to make sure that you have a cohesive look, right? And doing all of your bases at one time is a really good way to like make sure that they all look the same. Because I know I've started doing bases and I've forgotten what my recipe was, and like having to replicate it. While I can replicate it enough that it looks similar, but it's never going to look exactly the same. So I definitely agree and appreciate his patience to not just get everything done.
Right.
But also these models look sweet. I really like the use of white, like
I was about to say that the
really
white and
effective white.
red looks really sharp.
very effective red.
I've always loved the Sorcerer 2 model.
And I really like the basing on these a lot. Is kind of the main thing, which is funny because it's not painted. But there's another reason why like I like seeing this sort of stuff, because we can talk about other elements of painting and like and hobbying and things that are not exclusively like this is a really technically well done paint job, right? Like
Right,
this-
absolutely.
This is a really well done base, and it flows really well with the model.
I like seeing people having fun with
Yeah,
what they're
and these are
doing
cool.
and trying some new things. It's also nice to be able to show off things that like, you know, we can't really get done on this show in an hour.
Correct. Yeah.
So this one,
I like the
these-
wall exploding.
these Jack bases are awesome because not only are they just cool looking custom bases, but you can really see it here. Like that is a kinetic base. The base has definitely become part of the story on this.
Capturing things in motion is one of the like things that I really appreciate seeing, because most of the time when you look at a model, it's a very static posed, right? So I like seeing motion and things happening to like really excuse me, to really like develop a story or like a setting for what I'm looking at, right? It also makes it look different.
Yeah,
You know,
it's make it stand out on the table.
samey. Yeah.
Sharp work.
But this looks really good, man. Keep
The
going.
hug or not.
I wanna see it when it's all done. So please post updated photos of these when the bases are all painted.
And I think he'll be coming to Lock and Load, so hopefully he'll.
Oh yeah, are we gonna see how lock and load?
Be sweet. Have a cool army there, show off and stuff.
Let's get back to the main page so we can see what he says. Heck yeah!
Everyone should come to Lock and Load
Yeah.
and hang out with us.
All of you guys should come to lock and load. Everybody, everyone, all of it.
Although it's really all about the Novilos, the pre-Lock and Load.
Oh my
Novi-
goodness, yes.
Every year, Jordan and I go to a Brazilian meat place before Lock and Load, and we
Before
Meat
or
sweats?
for
get the
lunch.
meat-
during-
yeah.
yeah.
we do it.
It's so amazing. It's just a.
Oh, Wrecker's Iron says he is going to be at Lock and Load, but he's going to be bringing the Grimkin instead.
Nothing wrong with Grimkin.
Them Grumblekins.
Grumbulkin.
All right, what's next on this modal?
I'm just kind of like refining the really bright highlights here, kind of blending them a little bit into the rest of the flesh. So kind of softening that harsh line, right?
Got a little bit of grumblies just there. Must be almost lunchtime.
I know I'm very hungry apparently.
So what for the next 10 minutes or so? Where are you going to focus on this model? What are you going to try and get
I think
done?
I'm going to put in some more glow. Like I definitely want to see more of what this glow's supposed to look like.
Right.
To figure out if I want to change it or not.
What are you thinking in terms of what will affect your decision on whether it needs to be changed?
Whether or not it mixes well with the purple that I've kind of developed in the skin tones here. Because I don't hate this line, right?
I think it looks sharp, pretty good.
It does look sharp, but I'm not convinced it's the best color
Sure.
for that specific job. And my mind could very well be changed as I see more of it on the model. Because this model does have a lot of places where the glow comes into play. Like especially as I start to kind of base coat some of these areas in the glow. In this mouth-wide highlight. Start to see that there's definitely quite a bit of glow that's going to be happening here.
So I just had a thought, by the way. I'm gonna put this one out there. This one's basically a freebie for anyone who wants to put this together by Lock and Load. This is like a free win for the painting competition. Is you need to, like someone said earlier, we need to get Lock, and we need to get one of the Infernal horrors, and then you get the little urchin model from Nightmare, the little girl hiding behind.
Yes.
You could totally do that diorama.
Yes.
So if anyone wants a freebie, just wants to win the painting competition right there, just do that.
Your mileage may vary. Jeff is not judging the painting competition.
If I was judging the painting competition.
And a top half of Prospero lying on a floor.
Yes.
nearby.
Oh. Yes.
Take it all the way, folks.
Milky robots.
Jeff, you're getting weird today.
Hey. Aliens is a
I was going to say, if you don't know what we're talking about right now,
Hold on.
you need to get your act together.
He
I
actually
don't.
doesn't know.
I don't actually know what you guys are talking about.
Oh, Jordan. We have, okay.
Yeah.
We're going to have
that's
lunch
pretty
conversation.
rough. That's
We got to get you on
savage.
board, buddy.
I'm slowly working on the collection of movies that I have not seen.
It's literally one of the greatest
Best
sci-fi moments
movies ever.
Like that moment is literally one of the greatest sci-fi moments, period, in film.
I would say iconic
Yeah.
sci-fi moment.
Which is funny because I love sci-fi.
But
I
yes,
haven't seen that. Cue the outrage from chat as well.
They're being amazingly calm.
Good.
anyone got any tips on freehanging sections of skin to look like exposed muscle? That'd be cool. That almost, I feel like in a way that it's kind of like going back to the mouse Phantasm, where you have a lot of brush strokes.
Yeah,
Lines,
you want the lines because like muscles are very like fibrous. I want to say is like the correct term. So there's a lot of like there's a lot of lines in there. So for instance, if I were to do this, I'll do this on my thumb so you guys can kind of see. If this were like a bicep or something, you'd like want to paint in all these lines.
Yeah, very fine, kind of parallel, almost overlappings in some ways sometimes. I mean, actually, this might be kind of a good question for Tony because you actually do like art like that,
Right.
Like you do. Sorry, I totally blanked on the the terminology for it. Human form,
Like anatomy?
art. Yeah, thank you. Wow, that's exactly what I was trying to say. Yeah, sorry, I'm
Specular. Anatomy.
specular.
So you just kind of want to like.
Anatomy,
Ontological.
Yeah, anatomy.
But yeah, tell us what you know, Tony.
How what's
Give us the
do some
information.
anatomy stuff.
Oh, I mean, like, I actually, Jordan is right on point. Like, it's getting those muscular, the muscle striations or getting some of those tendon lines that happen in there as well. I would think that for painting, the personalization of it is going to be how you're indicating those lines. So, like, Jordan drew he painted in the full line all the way around, and that's one way to get that texture. And then, of course, if you blend that with highlights and different colors, you can get different effects. But you could also take a section of muscle and then make like some really fine lines that maybe don't even go all the full length of the muscle. You could just hit certain parts or highlight certain parts of it just to kind of draw your eye to make you look that it's got texture, even though there isn't texture on the whole entire muscle.
It's interesting to me how much of like art and painting and stuff, and I'm going to say this word, and I don't mean it in a negative connotation. It's kind of a trick to trick your eye.
Oh yeah,
on where it's drawing your attention or how you're going to perceive it. I guess.
I mean, it's to go down that rabbit hole. Doing art is basically illusion, right? Like you're trying
literally magic.
Trying to be a magician.
You're trying to fool and convince somebody that they're looking at something that isn't real or isn't there. And in miniatures painting, even though you have kind of a 3D canvas and a little more of an actual thing to look at versus a flat space, you're still having to manipulate the paint and use light and use color to create a feeling or an idea, focus where people are looking at.
Yeah.
The techniques are all the same.
So Tony, you recommended earlier a little bit of some reddish yellow in here,
Uh-huh.
and we're gonna try that.
So are you saying I was right, Jordan?
I'm saying we're gonna try it. I didn't say you were wrong before either. I said I kind of liked the idea of just the straight yellow.
Sounds like a backpedal to me.
You know what, Tony? Shut your mouth.
I mean, I'm always down for this because anytime you do orange and black on a miniature, it looks good.
See, yeah.
And they were kind of getting there.
You know what, Jordan? I'm going to go out on a limb here based on the progress you've made so far. I think you are right to think I was right. I think that looks good.
What's this paint, by the way? We should put it on the thingy.
This is yellow ink and Heartfire.
And you kind of just mix them together a little bit.
Yeah.
Heartfire. You get your...
Yeah, Tony, you had to be right. You had to be right.
You just did that, and now I want to produce a retro 80s cartoon with you called Heartfire.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And it's obviously just to make action figures.
Just for action figures,
obviously
absolutely.
That's definitely a thing that's not quite as prevalent these days.
Yeah.
Is back in our day, like He-Man was literally just to
He-Man, G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Transformers. In fact, I think when I got older, I was a little disillusioned. The right word. I mean, I still love all those things. I think very fondly of my nostalgia for the '80s cartoons. But once I learned that it was all kind of a big marketing trick, the thing I loved was the cartoon.
Yeah.
And then I wanted the toys.
That was a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shell.
really.
I had it all.
Me
Oh
too,
my god,
yeah.
are you kidding me?
That was a big one.
Because I remember on my 7th birthday, because I'm born in 1980, and I got like the blimp for my birthday, the big blimp thing. Oh yeah, and the van.
You were one of those kids, huh? Had all the cool stuff.
I guess.
I mean, Richard or
I had to go out and mow lawns
heck?
just
What's
to be
that,
able to
Jeff?
buy
It's
like
your birthday.
regular figures.
But yeah, we should just make. We should make a sweet. We should make like a Friends intro of like Infernals. That we should do for on the Infernal Fridays. Is like all the Infernal Masters are like sitting around having coffee. It's like a Friends thing. I like this. I'm liking this orange now. What's cool is I can like. I'm not looking at our monitor that Tony and I share. I'm actually looking over across at Jordan, and you can really see it stands out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not anymore because he turned it away from me, but.
well, I'm turning it towards the camera so that everybody else can see it.
It's one thing I realized recently. I've spent so much time watching people paint miniatures in close up, both live and while we're recording, and then in the editing afterwards, that sometimes I'm surprised that when I sit down to paint, how small the miniature is because it's not huge on my
Yeah, in
screen
your
in
face.
front of me. Yeah,
Here's
I see it more often this way than
Yeah.
I do in real life at home.
Here's a question for you, Jordan, and this might be. I'm just curious. I actually have no frame of reference for this, but you have a model like this that's going for like that sort of like again kind of like Geiger-esque, that aliens, the black carapace, this weird bioorganic thing. Would you ever use something like a varnish to really, or something along those lines to really turn up the reflective rate of this kind of black? I don't know. I'm really spitballing ideas here, but I'm curious.
If anything, I would do like a satin varnish. I think.
Because like in like the movies and stuff and like aliens, like they're glistens, right? And I'm wondering if there's any clever techniques on how to kind of replicate a similar.
I mean,
effect.
if it's painted properly, and granted, I have not done this a lot, so like this is still kind of a little bit of an exploratory thing for me, as I don't do this sort of painting super often. Like, if it's painted right, you don't need any gloss or anything.
Gotcha.
It just
Interesting.
looks like that. And there's this like really perfect balance of highlight, like very small transitional highlighting to get to that like reflective tone that perfectly sells it.
Interesting.
And I have
Okay.
not found it perfectly. I think the closest thing I've gotten on this model to that is like this specific spot right here.
Yeah, I totally see what you're talking about.
Like it's just got that really gentle, like
It looks like it is a
Transition?
black creature, and a little piece of light has picked it up right
Yeah.
there.
So I think a lot of like discovering the perfect way to paint that sort of thing is kind of in that sort of search, right? You gotta find how to paint something like this.
Also, I feel like we got what has to be a canonical lore fact from Doug Seacat and Chad.
Yes,
It's Doug Seacat. We have an impromptu sea fact. One cool thing is some of the infernal horrors can eat with their hands while still chatting. It makes for easier dinner. This is canonical. This is in comic now, so it's good. Yeah, I agree. Do you think they like use the big claws to like shovel food into their their maws, as it were. So they use the big shoulder claws up on the shoulders here, and they grab like the burger.
Yeah, it's food pile.
Yeah.
Right. Correct me if I'm wrong, Doug. It's food pile, and then they just take their big mitts and then they just shove them in the pile and just kind of pinch.
Yeah, and then the whole time they get to sit there and talk, so it works out. A water effect.
Doing a little bit of revising here.
Have we done any cool videos about water effects?
We have not. That is one that we have not done.
That'd be a good Danny video.
Yeah, it is definitely that's
Definitely
a good one.
his wheelhouse. So I wasn't super happy with how these highlights were going here. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to try and do a little bit more gradular or gradiated.
So are you enhancing or embellishing them right now, or are you kind of erasing to back up a bit?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
I'm using the highlights that are already there to kind of be the basis of this new highlight.
So you're kind of just toning down the highlight that already exists rather than
because I like I was talking about earlier, like I was not getting the feeling that it was super reflective. Like it was selling a little bit of it, but it wasn't quite as much as I would have liked. So it's a little bit of just small corrective adjustment there.
Follow-up question: is gradular a word?
No, probably not. Just saying stuff. It wasn't the correct term to use.
Well, I hate to point this out, but we've given 8 bonus minutes on this episode.
Snap.
So we're going to need to start wrapping it up here in the next few minutes or so. Chat, if you have more questions for Jordan, more questions about this lovely Infernal Desolator model he's painting up today, please let us know.
Yeah. And then we're going to get ready to go to lunch here pretty soon.
Launching.
'Cause I also just got hungry, I'd like to point out.
Yep, very hungry. It's that hungry time.
This guy looks sharp. I mean, that one hemisphere, that corner, that section looks really good.
I mean, it also seems like this, for a model this size that, if you were doing the entire model in the stages that you would normally do it at instead of just this one section, that it would paint up relatively quickly.
This is probably kind of a good example of how, kind of reeling it back to that conversation about how part of art is kind of cheating the eye, tricking the eye a little bit. A lot of the stuff you're doing in this section, you would not necessarily replicate across the entirety of the model, because in the lower sections and his undercarriage, you don't need these kind of details. You can shade and shadow it. Obviously, this is where the light is. This is the top. This is the focal point of the model. But when you're talking about like underneath his big maw arms and underneath his like legs and his belly and stuff, you wouldn't put the same. You would use other techniques to make it more in shadow, and because you wouldn't have this level of detail on there, because that's not where the light, at least as far as your model is concerned, is coming from.
Correct.
That's right.
Yep. And I'm already liking how this is turning out a lot better.
Oh wow! I hadn't.
You like
seen...
that orange better? Is what you're saying, Jordan? Is that
Well,
what
I
you
like
said?
that orange.
You like
better,
the orange,
but I also think that this these specular highlights that I'm doing.
Specular.
I just want to hear him talk more about how much he likes the orange.
You know what? I hate the orange. I hate the orange.
It's too late. You can't go back now.
At the end of one of these videos, like we're at the end of one of these streams, I just want Jordan to go off the rails and be like, you know what? I hate it. He just pulled out a pot and just dumps it on the model. Like, screw you, Tony. The model sucks. I hate your recommendation.
Hey, at least I'm a good enough person to acknowledge when I'm wrong.
You weren't wrong.
Yeah, he was just more right.
My idea was more right.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen very often, so I got to take it when I can get it. I gotta milk it for everything it's worth. It's going to get me through the rest of today.
Should we begin outroing our way a little bit out of this?
Yeah, sorry. I'm so
Oh, no, you're good.
enthralled with what I'm doing here. You know when you get in that zone?
Yeah, you get in the painting zone.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
And you're just kind of like, you're really liking what's going on, and you just kind of want to get it to its next step.
Yes, yeah.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Why don't you keep being in the zone, and Tony and I will take you out of here.
I'll let you guys do the outro.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this week's Get Your Paint On, featuring Jordan Lamb, studio painter at Privateer Press, and Tony Konachek, video producer, and I, Jeff Olson, playtest coordinator.
It's been an honor.
Yeah. Join us tomorrow for the staff showdown. Will Hungerford and Oz Schoonover will be playing
Monster Apocalypse.
And they're going to be doing some hot monster battles, and I think there are going to be some Crack Noctis and some Hammer Click Clack.
I believe
That is the
there's
hope.
going to be Hammer Clack,
Hammer Ham.
Krakenoctis,
Cracker Grapple.
Rogzor,
Ooh.
and I don't know who the fourth
It's
one's gonna be.
is a Zor. Is he bringing a Zor Raiden? He's bringing one of the
Might
ninjas.
be a Zor Raiden. Is he bringing?
I think he's
ninjas?
one of the
Okay.
bringing ninjas.
And I believe they're playing on a brand new map as well.
Oh,
Yes.
that is spicy. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us this week for Get Your Paint On. We have Jordan in the zone Lamb over here, just kind of doing his thing. We'll be back tomorrow for Staff Showdown, and you can catch us next week as well for Dev Chat on Wednesday. Get Your Paint On Thursday, and then in 2 weeks, Jordan is
2 weeks. Yes.
is
Not
our Primecast.
But 2 weeks.
And don't forget, everyone, to submit your painting and your conversions and all your fun stuff at hashtag P3Painters. That way, Jordan can go and sit on the floor in Tony's office, and they can pick out some cool things to show off.
Yeah. Let him get that's like kind of deserved rest,
Yeah.
just a little bit.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
Our
everybody.
peanut gallery of nonsense.
Thanks for watching.
Have a great afternoon. Enjoy your weekends that are coming up.
We'll see you next week with some more infernal goodness.
Ooh.
And that'll be that.
I had like cough during that whole outro thing, and I was like trying to like say hello and goodbye and stuff, and not like.